Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to the intuitive card reading for April 13th through 19th. I had to remember that for a second. You guys know what to do. Please like this video. Please share this video with anybody that needs to hear the energies and the influences of the week. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. What else? Comments down below. They're always welcome. Just be kind is all I ask. What else, guys? I think that's it. Same 3 decks you guys are familiar with, shuffled. I think they're in a different order from the last reading, not sure, but this feels intuitively aligned. All right, guys, let's just jump right into it. We are in the middle of April. We're coming towards the end with this week, actually. Not towards the end, I'm sorry, towards the middle. So let's see what we got going on. What do we need, guys? Oh, boy. Renewal. Boy, do we need renewal. Okay, so we need to, so this could be actually literal, where we need to renew something. We need to renew a contract. It's funny, because I just re-signed my lease last week. I got that in right away. So, but we need to renew something. So renewing a lease, renewing a contract, renewing something. So it could be, you know, an actual physical, like I said, contract, lease, subscription, like something like that. Or it could be a metaphorical renewal, like we need to be reborn. We need to feel like a new person. We need to bloom again. Boy, do I know it, right? You know, so it's under need. So it's our needs, right? So it may not exactly be happening this week. We'll obviously go through the rest of the reading, but you are definitely feeling like you need this brand new renewal, and you're not alone, because again, this is the reading. Oh, I actually didn't say this. It is a reading for the collective, so we're all feeling it, basically. Okay, action needed. So this one is actually taking action on what you need. Clean it up. Okay, so this is about, cleaning something up. So again, this could be literal, where we can, you know, we're getting to, we're in springtime already. I got a little confused there of where we at with spring. But yeah, we're in springtime. So spring cleaning, so that makes sense. So this might be literal, meaning like clean it up, you know, clean up your mess kind of deal. So spring cleaning, or this could be like clean up, could be, you know, I kind of like, Spirit is showing me like a room full of toys, you know, everything is out at once, and it's kind of like put everything together, put everything back, you know, clean it up, like renew your space. That obviously could help you with the renewal, right? Like maybe you need to redecorate your apartment. Maybe that's what that's saying as well. But you need to finish something up, you know, like finish cleaning something, or just finishing something up in general, and you need to take action on whatever that actually is. I am getting, you know, Spirit keeps telling me, and you guys know I read intuitively, and sometimes I see pictures in my head. I see like toys all around, and just like putting those away, cleaning those up, cleaning the space, like kind of like making space for something, making space for something new. And again, like I said, it could be connected with that renewal card there. All right, what do we have issues with? Oh Lord, here comes the hard part of the week. Okay, we have artist in the shadow, using talent as excuse to mistreat others, posing as a starving artist. Okay, so all right, so this is about, you know, having issues being an artist, issues with creativity, issues with making money off of your creativity. If you're an actual artist, you might have issues selling things this week, the things that you create. Selling an idea might be hard for you. Pushing an idea, getting an idea to be implemented on, that counts here. You know, it doesn't have to be like an actual, you know, you don't have to be a painter or sculptor. It could be innovative ideas. Okay, those are also in the creative section. You know, you're an artist in your own way. But yeah, so we're just having issues. Maybe you have blocked creativity. Maybe you can't create. Maybe you don't have ideas, you know, when you usually do have ideas, like that kind of thing. It's, I definitely just feel like there's a block of some kind. And, you know, if you're an artist, it's not the greatest week, I will say. Or if you're doing something creative or trying to do something creative, it's not the greatest card to get there. for this week. Okay, challenge detachment. Okay, so we're having issues detaching from something. Okay, so this could be detaching from an expectation. This could be detaching from a relationship, detaching from an idea, detaching from an outcome, detaching in general, right? So this definitely tells me we are attached to an idea of some kind, or like I said, person, or, attached to something, and it's going to be challenging because it's going to fall through, or it's going to create issues. It's going to break your heart. Something is kind of going on here where we really need to practice that level of not taking things personally, but also, again, detaching from whatever it is. Definitely could be outcome, expectations, but again, could also be a person. Something that you can't control is basically another way to put that. Change, we have flexible. Okay, so we're becoming more flexible, more adaptable. We like that. Anytime we are flexible or adaptable, it opens our, window, I guess we can say, of, what is available to us, opportunities, possibilities, like different things like that. So the more flexible and open we are, the better. And I definitely see it as a positive thing for sure. What do we need to focus on? Messiah. Okay, serving humanity with humility. Okay, so this is very similar to maybe the Samaritan archetype card. So we have Messiah, serving humanity with humility. Okay, so it's under the focus section. So we should be focusing on how we can be of more service to society in general. I know for me, I feel like I haven't been serving society. Like, I feel like I've been like a recluse, just trying to heal and focus on myself. And there's, again, nothing, that's just the chapter that I'm in. There's like nothing wrong with that. But I definitely do feel like, I've been doing these readings and I kind of speak in the way of like, the things like renewal get me excited. Not just because personally, again, as I mentioned, this is a readings for the collective. So I know if I'm going through a really difficult time, doesn't mean everyone's going through a difficult time. No, but I know in some way, shape, or form, there are people that are going through it as well. Okay. And it's obviously not the same issues, but there are maybe some certain planetary things kind of going on that affect all of us and those kinds of things. So, we are all connected in that way. So I know I'm not the only one, is basically what I'm trying to say. So this coming up in this section is basically saying, maybe you haven't necessarily been feeling like you are a part of society in some way. Maybe you are, but you don't feel like you're contributing in the ways that you want to. And this is definitely saying, definitely to focus on that. And if that's you, if that's the latter, where you feel like you are, trying to contribute to society, but something just feels off, this says with humility. Okay, so it's basically saying like, you got to look at, make sure you're not doing it for show, or make sure you're not just doing it so you look good, or they look good, or because your parents told you to do so, or your spouse told you to do so, or whatever. This is about serving from the goodness of your heart, because you want to make humanity a better place, and because it makes you feel good, and you want to be of service, just plain and simple. There's no monetary, maybe it does have a monetary value, maybe it's like running a business that's heart-led and purpose-led and that kind of thing. That's fine. But this is basically saying like you need to focus on like what really makes you feel of service and what really will make you happy in that way. So, take all the ego stuff out of it, basically. All right, we need to reflect on movement. Okay, so this could be about, the reflect card is always very introspective. Some good journal prompts come out of this one. Where do we need to move more? Move our bodies. Maybe this could actually mean where do we need to relocate? Okay, that could be that as well. How do we move? What exercises make me feel good? Okay, so this is more about physical wellness here. We haven't had something like that in a while, but yeah, this is asking us to reflect on our physical wellness, how we move our bodies, how we move about. every day, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's a good one. We haven't had something like that in a while. Responsibilities. We have regeneration. I was hoping this would come up with the renewal. That's actually what I thought of, because I'm like, wait a minute, the redoing something, renewing something, regenerating something. So doing something again, but with a different perspective, new tools, new outlook. So regeneration is always about building back either the same or better. But again, you have like a new perspective. I always give the example of your house burned down, and now this would signify, rebuilding the house, but now you get to make it, with the deck that you wanted, and maybe an extra bedroom, or the bedroom, the bedroom's in a different place in the house. Maybe it's on the second floor, which is something you always wanted. So like, yes, burning down your house is horrible. That is like a horrible thing to happen to somebody. But in the end, you get to, build it back better, right? Or again, maybe you loved it just as it was and you build it back just the same. That's fine, But this is definitely a building something back. So it's your responsibilities to make sure that you do that. And so in this case, I think we've got similar energies in the last couple of weeks. Make sure you have the blueprint. Make sure you have the right architect. Make sure you have you hired the right contractors. Like, those are your responsibilities to regenerate this situation, and just like make sure you're creating the environment for that stuff to rebuild itself, and make sure you're doing the thing. You have to call the contractors, you have to get the quotes, you have to, that kind of thing. So you like actually have to do something to basically prepare for this regeneration. Okay, that's what it's saying. It's under responsibilities, and I like that because it's saying like you still, this isn't just going to happen on its own. Like, you have to, it's your responsibility is to make sure all of the ducks are in a row, essentially, right, for this. So I like that. And I think we've gotten similar type energies in the past, in the recent past. All right, eternal child for money, finances, and career, inability to grow up and be responsible, extreme dependency on others for physical security. Oh no, I don't like this one in money, finances, and career. You guys know I'm honest. Right after responsibilities too, we have a card talking about irresponsibility. All right, guys. Can I say the S word on this channel? I don't know, but crap happens, maybe I'll say. So, all right. We're not going to have a responsible week with money. That's like, I'm just going to tell you how it feels coming through. That's okay. All right. We haven't had this in a while. You might do something irresponsible with money. I don't feel like it's like huge and, like a big financial mistake or something like that. I don't feel that way, but you're a little loose with money this week. Okay. You might spend it on something frivolous. Like, basically it's like the vibe of like an irresponsible child, like that kind of thing. So this is also under career. So this could also be being kind of irresponsible at work in some way. Maybe you get too drunk this week and you can't show up the next day for work. It's a little irresponsible, but it happens, like that kind of thing. So there's something here going on. Don't beat ourselves up, all right? We might feel a little shame attached to it, okay? It's all right, it happens. But I definitely do feel like this is something that's going on this week, and that's okay. Maybe you misplace money, because you're so unorganized. Like, there's some kind of irresponsibility attached to this. There's some kind of childish energy attached to this. I feel like it's about us, but I'm going to throw this out here too. Maybe it's about somebody in your life that's doing that. Maybe you lent somebody money and you thought it was for them to catch up on their bills, and then you find out they spent it like on something frivolous, like a vacation, or something that you disapprove of. Something along those lines. Maybe you did something for your child. You gave them money for a specific thing and they went out and got a tattoo with it or something like that. I don't know. Okay. It could be, coming towards us, but I feel like it's more so, us. But yeah, there's just frivolous spending going on, frivolous money management, childish energy going on. Maybe you're dealing with it could just be like a childish employee, coworker or something like that. I don't love this energy on that in this section, but here we are. All I'm here to do is interpret the energies. Okay, so I'm not here to lie to you guys, but that is what I'm getting here. All right, surprise, rainbow beauty. Oh, how nice. Okay, so we love that. All right, so under the surprise card we have beauty. So a surprise beauty. You could find the beauty in something that you have never really noticed before. Or you may be surprised with a beauty regimen. Maybe you decide to try a new skincare routine this week, right? And you're surprised by the results, This could be that you try something. Maybe you start trying to wear heels this week, and you've never, as a woman, you've just never been into heels before, but you actually end up liking it, and it makes you feel, good. It makes you feel more beautiful, like you try something different fashion-wise, skincare-wise, beauty-wise. You find the beauty in something. It could be more metaphorical, like, maybe you have been through a lot, which I mentioned, I feel like a lot of us have been through a lot. Maybe you find the beauty of the situation this week and you see why you had to go through what you had to go through, right? That's definitely more spiritual in nature in that way. But again, could be like quite literal. You try a new beauty routine in some way, shape, or form, and you really like it. So if you've been thinking of like experimenting with something, maybe this might be the week to do so, but again, use your own intuition with that. But yeah, it's a surprise beauty, right? You find something beautiful that you maybe haven't before or haven't seen before or haven't tried out a long time or something like that. I love that. I'm getting such a positive feeling with that card. Really, it's really radiating beauty. And I love it. What a great surprise this week, right? Coming off of not so great card, we have a better card. So I like that. All right, friends, deep knowing. Okay, so you might just get, you're claircognizant of something about friends, like something's not going to work out for somebody, or where your relationship is heading, your friendship is heading. Some spirit is saying, listen to whatever claircognizant, your clear knowing says about your friend group, your community, your family. You're gonna get like a big nudge this week. So just listen to it when it comes to this area of your life. Romantic connection, we have hero, heroine, passion for a journey of personal empowerment. Okay, so this is being the hero of your own life. It's under romantic connection. Okay, so you could be like the hero for your significant other, coming through for them in some way, shape, or form, where they really needed a favor, and you really stepped up for them, and you became the hero. Like maybe they had a huge presentation at work and they totally forgot their laptop, and so you drive the laptop to them before the presentation and you really save them at the last moment, right? Hero, right? You're my hero, like that kind of thing. That's what I'm feeling. So yeah, let me see if I can think of another example. The other thing too is it might be reversed, like coming towards you, that energy. So it could be like your partner being the hero for you, stepping up for you. So there's definitely stepping up, from either side. I definitely feel like it's more us, but like I said, could be coming from your partner as well. But positive energy from this as well. Someone stepping up for you, getting you out of a jam, being, maybe it's more, that example is more like literal, but maybe it could be, your partner, stood up for you when they were having a fight with, co-parenting with like their ex or something, and they stood up for you, and they make you feel seen and heard. They were your hero. They were your advocate in a way, right? You know, a little bit like the advocate archetype. But yeah, I like this here. This is good. All right, important rose, love. Okay. So it's important to be loving. You know, be as loving as possible this week. Love does not just mean romantic love. It means, you know, showing up in a loving way as best you can to your life, loving yourself, loving your coworkers, loving, you know, just being a little bit more loving, less, you know, judgmental, or, you know, less egoic, maybe I'd like to say. So yeah, it's important to be as loving as possible. I know we don't always feel that way. I totally understand that, but, you know, do the best you can. That's all you can do. All right, health and wellness, truth be told. Ooh, this is a good one to get for health and wellness. This is about being authentic. This is about telling the truth. So health and wellness, so telling the truth about something maybe particularly that maybe you've been lying to yourself about or embellishing. This might be being authentic about your journey. I always use like a weight loss journey as an example here. So maybe you're not being honest about what you're eating every day. You know, you're wondering why you're not exactly losing weight, but, you know, you're fudging the numbers a little bit on the calorie intake or something along those lines, where Spirit is asking us to be a little bit more honest. This could also be, and I feel like I could say this, I know somebody that is about 3 months pregnant. They're finally ready to tell people, right, that they're pregnant. And I'm so happy for them. And so this is under health and wellness, so this counts, right? So this is about telling the truth. Maybe it's the week that you tell people you're pregnant, you know, in that situation where you're just being honest about something about your health, you know, about your wellness, about where you're at, that kind of thing. So I like that here, you know. Yeah, that's a good one. The truth will always set you free. And yes, it could hurt, you know, definitely, you know, at first, but people always appreciate the truth and authenticity. So you really can't go wrong here. That's how I feel, at least. All right, overall outcome. Oh no, Liberator Shadow, imposing your own tyranny over those you claim to liberate, ignoring legitimate constraints. Okay. Oh man, we were almost out of the gate, but this is Liberator and the Shadow. This means that we don't feel liberated. We are feeling confined. I don't love that, guys. So by the weekend, we might not feel as free as we wanted to feel. I just want to throw this out here. I definitely feel like it's just a delay. You know, it's not like forever. But I definitely feel like by the weekend, we might feel like we thought that we would be more free by now, or feeling more free. You know, maybe what's been kind of like holding us back is not quite there, but it's coming. You know, we're getting ready for the renewal, the regeneration, that kind of thing. But maybe we're not quite there, and we might feel a little bit of disappointment over the weekend. I will say that. But, you know, don't get too discouraged, because, you know, it's not going to last forever. So there are still constraints that you might have, or blockages or something, by the end of the week, and that goes into the weekend. So all right, guys, I like this. Otherwise, you know, I don't, like I said, I don't love the Liberator reverse, and I don't love the Eternal Child reverse, but everything else I do like. You know, we always have the issues and the challenges, but I mean, I really love us coming to terms with the beauty of something. I mean, I think that's the most important message for the week. And yeah, I like it. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next one as always. Bye.